listening to the Forza Podcast with your host, Marsh.
What up? What's going on, Canes fans? It is the Forza Podcast. It is good as hell to be back with you guys. As always, it's your boy Marsh, and as always, I'm joined by my wonderful producer and co-host, Jordan Nelson. Jordan, it's been a minute, man.
It has. I was missing you, Marsh.
I'm starting to have withdrawals. Sorry, I was choking on my energy drink, but
I thought you were choking some tears, not some liquid courage.
No liquid courage. So
yeah.
I mean, to Mormons, a Monster energy drink is liquid courage. So
yeah, I forgot this was a national audience. That was the point of the joke.
No, you're good. But yeah, we're just making it through quarantine one day at a time. I mean, it feels like this is never going to end, but I don't know, man. How are you holding up?
Oh, I'm all good, man. I mean, here in Utah, they eased restrictions, so it's been good. The sun is out. My parents' swimming pool is open. Like, this week has been a breath of fresh air, my man. So
must be nice.
Dude, it's officially summer for me. So
yeah, that's great. I'm still trying to get rid of Fat Marsh, so I'm going nowhere near a pool anytime soon.
Man,
yeah, I mean we got a great show today. We got Manny Navarro coming on first, and then we got Cole Perry coming on second. So what do you say? Let's ring up Manny Navarro.
Cool, we'll get him right now. Manny, what's up, man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Pretty good. So we now welcome on Manny Navarro. He covers the Canes for The Athletic. Always a good time talking UM with Manny. Thank you so much for coming on, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me on, dude.
Good deal. So first things first, how's South Florida down there with this whole quarantine thing? You ready to get back to Green Tree and cover the Canes?
Well, I'd love for normal life to resume, but I'm actually getting used to this staying at home business. I got my two daughters at home. I got a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old, so they're happy to see me every single day and to spend time with me. So it hasn't been all bad, but yes, I miss sports badly, to answer your question.
Yeah, it's been pretty brutal. But today we wanted to talk a little recruiting right now because Miami's been on a hot streak with on the trail as of the past few weeks. And so first things first, I wanted to ask you about our latest commitment, Elijah Arroyo, tight end out of Texas, 4-star. I really like the kid. What are your thoughts on him, Manny?
Well, I know he's somebody that the coaching staff identified early on as a priority target, somebody that they really wanted to get involved in this class. So I know from Miami's perspective, they're very happy to get him. They look at him again as a guy who can thrive once Brevin Jordan is gone, and they're looking for guys to sort of fill that role. The way Miami's coaches have always thought about recruiting is bring in as much talent as you can, guys that are going to be good fits. And I think Arroyo mentally, from what his thought process is to how he plays in the offense, is a great fit at Miami. And so I know the coaching staff is very excited to get him on board.
Cool. And then so we also had some other news from this week. The right tackle from University of Houston, Jared Williams, entered the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaiah Walker, he's still a true freshman, only been on campus for like 2 months at UF. He entered into the transfer portal. I'm assuming that the Hurricanes will target both of those guys. Is there anything that you can share with us about either of them?
Yeah, I mean, certainly Walker was a high priority for Miami in the previous recruiting cycle. Garen Justice obviously wasn't the coach last year when Miami was trying to fill its needs, but Manny Diaz was here, obviously was the head coach, and I know that they liked Walker a lot and were very interested. That said, I don't know the exact reasons why he's leaving Florida, or what he's looking for now as he changes schools, but certainly Garen Justice, I would imagine, has to be interested. They've got plenty of film on him, I'm sure, at Miami. And we would be kicking the tires on that. As far as the kid out of Houston, I'm sure De'Ara King is vouching for him. And ultimately, it's going to be interesting to see what Miami does. They've got obviously that one scholarship left that's available for this class. I know everybody automatically assumes that they're going to go out and use it for sure. But I think Manny Diaz is the kind of coach, especially now in this climate where, there's so much unknown about the future, that I think they can be patient. I don't think they have to jump on, getting a commitment right now without really knowing what's going on and who else might become available in the weeks and months ahead as we hope and pray that football comes back this fall.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, Rhett Lashley and his new offensive staff have been on, campus for a few months now. What has impressed you most about, Lashley, Coach Justice, Coach Likens in both recruiting and then when you saw him during spring ball as well?
Well, I would say in regards to, I'll start with recruiting and what they're doing. I think they have a clear vision for what they want. And, I know the recruiting department really prioritized trying to get a lot of these local guys. It's a very talented local recruiting class this year in South Florida. So many 4- and 5-star guys that are elites. And it's been tough for Miami to sort of overcome what happened last season, going 6-7, losing to FIU, some of the things that they have had to do. But I think what Lashley and a lot of his offensive coaches have done, Rob Likens, Coach Garen Justice, everybody that's involved in the offensive side of the ball, I think they are really doing a good job getting their point across to these recruits that, this is what they're interested in. This is what they want. This is what they view as the future of Miami football. We want to run a spread. We want to run this kind of an offense. We see that this is how you fit. I think, when you have a clear-cut plan of what you want to do and kids, a majority of high school kids play in that kind of offense, you're going to have better success getting recruits to come on board. And you think about all the challenges that these coaches are facing right now. You can't get anybody on campus. You can't go watch these guys in spring ball. You're basically going off of everything that they did last year and off of phone call conversations, and nothing in person. Whereas normally this time of year, they would be out watching spring practices and talking to guys in person. So, I think I've been very impressed by the fact that Lashley and his staff have a good plan, and I think they're executing it for the most part. I thought getting Ryan Rodriguez out of Miami Columbus among those 4 new guys that they've added since April 22nd was huge. Ryan is, without question, to me, a better than a 3-star recruit. I watched him up close at the Under Armour camp in March, and I was thoroughly impressed with him. I thought, this is a guy who could come in and be a starter potentially for 3 years at Miami. So I think he was a huge pickup to convince him to stick on board and to stay home. And I thought, some of the other things that they've done on the recruiting trail, just conversations that they're having with guys, it sounds and it looks like things are going the right way. As far as on the field, again, the transition to the spread, the one thing we heard from all the players in camp was, how easy this offense is. Will Mallory came up with the line of the spring, which was like, man, this thing is so easy. It's so easy to read and figure out, and guys wanted that. Ultimately, it's really going to help guys like Mark Pope, who struggled picking up plays and so forth. It's just going back to natural instinct and natural ability, and hey, just get open and D'Eriq King will get you the ball type of concept. And I know, in the grand scheme of things, as a program, you want to complicate things a little more and be a little bit more tricky for opposing defenses. But if you have the athleticism, you have the athletes that can run the offense, and you have speed, and you can cover up some of the deficiencies you have on the offensive line by running the spread offense, then go for it. And I think they've got the right plan in place. So I've been totally impressed with Rhett Lashley and just the way he's carried himself from what he's done on the field to what they're doing in recruiting.
Cool. So, in the NFL draft last weekend, Rob Likens had his second first-round pick in 2 years.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the kid that went this year, but then he had now I forgot the kid who went last year too, to the Patriots. But,
hey, listen, it's okay, man. I forget names all the time. In fact, I usually just go to the school and say the receiver or the offensive lineman or whoever it is, because it's just too many. I've been doing this since 1995, man. Like, it's just way too many names I've run out of memory. I need like a booster or something.
Yeah, N'Keal Harry was the one last year. N'Keal Harry to the Patriots last year. Had another one this year in the first round. How much much credence do high school kids give to that? Like, how much are they taking notice of the first round picks that he's putting out?
Yeah, I think without question it plays a factor. Kids want to get to the NFL. They want to get to the next level. And I just did a huge article for The Athletic on, the NFL draft. And, as much as people criticize, hey, Miami didn't have somebody drafted until the fourth round, and fans were like, I can't believe FIU guys are getting drafted ahead of Miami guys and FAU guys. And, Shaq Quarterman goes late in the fourth round. People are freaking out. Miami still had 4 players drafted, which is more than everybody but Florida in the state. And they still, since 1980, have had more players drafted in the NFL than any other school. They're number 2 in first-round picks. Yes, a lot of it is older history, but there's still great players and NFL professional players that are coming out of Miami. So they can always sell that to recruits. They can always use that as hey, when we get the best players, we can develop them. And I think that's what they're trying to do now. They're trying to say, hey, we can still get you drafted. You just got to come in and work hard and do the right things. And so I know everybody wants first round picks and second round picks and all that kind of stuff. But, when you struggle on the field for the last 15 years, the elite kids aren't going to come here. What you have to show them is I still have a track record of producing guys. And I think just over the last 15 years, I think Miami is still in the top 10 when it comes to guys getting drafted when you just go to the last 15 years. So it still is an NFL factory. And yes, without question, it's something that I think all of these kids are looking at. And when you got a guy like Rob Likens who's developing first round picks at wide receiver, yeah, you can sell that to recruits, no question.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say, looking at the 2021 recruiting class for Miami, what would you say the 3 biggest positions of need for Miami is?
Well, I mean, obviously, I think it always starts up front with the offensive line. And, it's one of those positions that you're still looking for guys that you can count on. I'm going to sift through my notes here for a second because I kind of have like this broad picture position by position, how many scholarships, all that kind of stuff, and where guys are in the class. So I do all this research year to year. You look at this offensive line right now going into the season. You got Navon Donaldson, who's a senior. You got Corey Gaynor, who's a redshirt junior. You got Scaife, who's a junior. Those are 3 starters right off the bat that you never know what's going to happen. They may go to the NFL. Obviously, Donaldson's coming back from injury, but and this is his last year. So if he doesn't redshirt because of injury and he plays, he's gone no matter what. And then you got Gaynor and Scaife, who Scaife was your team MVP last year. He might decide he wants to go to the NFL. I don't know how much depth you really have at that position, proven depth, in terms of guys that you're totally thrilled and excited about. So I think, they've prioritized the offensive line. They want to sign 5 guys. They got, Michael McLaughlin out of Parkland Douglas, who is a 4-star kid, a kid who probably needs a year or 2 to really develop in college because he didn't play offensive line a whole lot in high school. But he's super athletic and a guy who has a ton of upside. We've talked about Ryan Rodriguez, Seymour out of Miami Central, very gifted, talented kid as well. I think they're going to have to recruit him hard all the way up until the very end. And again, we're talking recruiting so far ahead of signing day in December. But he's a kid that I know that he's going to be looking to see what this team does once it gets back on the field. So, so to me, it's offensive line is priority in this class. After that, you look at some other positions where you're going to be losing guys. Wide receiver is a big one, especially with the talent that you have in South Florida this year. So many 4- and 5-star guys, that are talented. You got Mike Harley, who's a senior. You got Pope, who's a junior. D. Wiggins, who's a junior. Obviously you got some freshmen in there, but again, so much changes year to year to year. You got 9 scholarship receivers on the team right now. And to me, that's a priority position of need in this 2021 class. They want to get some talented guys they could bring in because you never know what happens. You look at the previous signing classes, they've had guys go into the transfer portal, right? Hey, I'm not happy here. I'm not doing enough. To be successful in this spread offense, in this simplified spread, fast-paced offense, you need guys who are explosive. You need guys that can create space in the passing game. So to me, that's priority number 2. And then you go over to defense and you look at the linebacker position. To me, that's another area where, you look at and you say, okay, you need some good guys there. You just lost Shaq Quarterman and Michael Pinckney. You got Zach McLeod, who's going into his final year as a grad.